Dave King hailed Steven Gerrard as Scotland's biggest signing for a generation while dismissing suggestions handing a rookie the Rangers gig was a big risk. But more of that stuff later. When the Rangers chairman is in front of inquisitors, the questions inevitably come down to cash. Will Gerrard be backed with proper dough to put up a fight with Celtic? The short answer is yes, says King. The talk of outside investment coming in along with a new manager is all very well and good, but the South Africa-based businessman is clear there will be money made available without new faces slapping candy on the table. King didn't take questions over his battles with the takeover panel, the share issue, or the recent departures of Paul Murray and Barry Scott from the board. But he will, and soon. Monday to be precise. He promised to give the punters the lowdown on the business side at the start of next week because yesterday he wanted the main focus to be on landing one of British, European and world football's big fish as Rangers boss. But the cash query still had to be addressed. Is new investment needed to fund the Gerrard revolution? King said, "No, I think the source of it doesn't matter. The rights share issue is one of the things we are pursuing, but it is not critical. The funding will be made available whether it is through a rights issue or otherwise." Steven Gerrard is unveiled as Rangers manager by chairman Dave King. "We have to keep funding the club and continue to narrow the funding gap we currently have between ourselves and Celtic. We have to make sure that's in order to meet the manager's ambitions, that we continue to invest in the club. I think we are continuing the process. If I look at the non-footballing side, we've certainly come a long way in the last couple of years. The footballing side is still behind where I hoped we would be, but still a lot of improvements have been made despite the instability we've had with our managers over the last couple of years. So the fact Steven has come in and committed himself to 4 years has really reassured me about his commitment to the club. The housekeeping out of the way, for now, it cleared the way to talk Stevie G. Gerrard is all smiles." Brendan Rodgers warned Steven Gerrard that Celtic will only get stronger. King couldn't help but notice the scenes in and around Ibrox yesterday, sights not seen in these parts since Paul Gascoigne pitched up in Govan in the mid-90s. The chairman said, "It's good for both Rangers and Scottish football." On the flight over, I was trying to think in Rangers' recent history, or even in Scotland, when there has been a bigger signing than Steven Gerrard coming to Rangers, and I can't think of one. What it will do for Rangers and derivatively for Scottish football is that there are an immense number of Steven Gerrard fans all over the world. I come across them in China, Thailand, Indonesia, and they will all be keenly watching how Steven is doing in his first managerial role. It's very good for the club and for the profile of Scottish football. Steven Gerrard is unveiled as the new Rangers manager, but King insisted Gerrard is not just a PR move to keep the fans smiling and parting with their hard-earned. He's a manager of substance. He said, "What we've witnessed with the fans was not surprising. But it's not really what it was about. What we were doing from a board point of view at that time was we were in a situation where we needed a manager. We decided to take a fairly cautious approach because we have had a couple of missteps recently, and get the right appointment. So the real focus was that I felt in supporting Mark Allen, Rangers director of football, that Steven was the right appointment. Everything that happened today is a buzz and it is fantastic. The supporters have welcomed him the way they have. But it wasn't really about the supporters, it is about what we are doing is right for the club and getting the right fit. I think with Steven we have the right fit for where we are right now." Gerrard enters the media scrum. King, a self-confessed Liverpool fan, does get a kick out of seeing an Anfield great being unveiled in the Blue Room. He said, "The impetus was through Mark. He just checked with me if in principle I was happy with a manager who hadn't managed before, but the fact it was Steven Gerrard made that very easy for me. Being a Liverpool supporter, of course, I guess I feel I know him better than other players having followed his career. I think I have a better sense of the character of the man having watched him and seen his highs and lows throughout his career. I immediately said to Mark, if there is a possibility then go and pursue it." Gerrard jumped at the chance to make his first leap into management, a big one. Everyone and their granny has branded the move a gamble from both parties, but King doesn't see it that way. He said, "If you look at the deliberations we had around managers, there are a lot of boxes that one tries to tick and no one ticks all of the boxes. When Mark first said to me what about Steven Gerrard as a potential manager, my first thought was clearly that he hadn't managed before. Competitive ability, a winner, knows what it takes to win, so he was ticking all the boxes other than experience. Having said that, and I mean no disrespect, if I looked at all of the other names that were being put forward over the last couple of months, they had experience, but a lot of that experience wasn't necessarily good. The reason they were available was because their previous clubs felt they weren't performing well. I was very happy to get someone of Steven's ability and character and felt that outweighed the inexperience. In fact, in this specific instance I don't necessarily think that inexperience will work against him. There are some advantages to him coming in clean and being able to stamp his own managerial style on the club. So I see positives rather than negatives on that point.